Ah, hey guys.
Shoot, how do I transition into my first sentence? I thought I had this all planned out, but apparently I'm just winging it. Okay, slowly look at the camera and smile. Nope, that just seems wrong. Okay, on the count of three, just say whatever you're going to start off with. One, two,
What do the following words have in common?
nailed it.
You got remakes, reboots, sequels, prequels, spin offs, reimaginings. What do they have in common, you ask? Disney loves them. Year after year, they take an old classic and they wonder, how can we make more money off of this? And while everyone keeps telling them to stop, people still eat it up. It's nostalgia.
People love nostalgia.
Anyway, it's pretty widely known that Disney had been doing this for years and will keep doing it for years to come. But the newest Disney movie to fall under this is the reboot that came out the other day on Disney Plus called Home Sweet Home Alone. Hailed as one of the greatest Christmas films of all time, the original Home Alone movie is truly a classic film that is watched every year around the holidays by thousands of households. It's emotional, it's sweet, it has a good message, it's funny, and even dark at times, and all around, it's a good time. Now, while the first one is a classic, you can't be forgetting Home Alone 2, Home Alone 3, Home Alone 4, and Home Alone 5. Yeah, they probably should have just stopped at the second one, but once something's working, they just keep pumping them out until there's basically nothing left. But Disney thought they'd have another crack at this franchise and at least try and squeeze another film out of this concept, and oh boy. Now, I just thought that the rip-off Bone Alone would have been the final straw, but apparently not. No joke, that's actually a real film. Now, about a month or so ago, I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw the trailer for the movie. Was I surprised? No, I knew it was going to happen eventually. I was just hoping they'd hold off another year. But when watching the trailer, something didn't sit right with me. It just felt wrong in some way. And when I looked at the likes to dislikes, I think most people would agree. Not the best start for the movie, but now we're in November, and yeah, the movie's not being very well received by fans and critics. Now, I didn't grow up in the 90s when this film was at its peak, so I don't really have the same nostalgia level like some people, but I still love this film, and I watch it usually every year around Christmas. And how can't you like it? It's a feel-good movie that most people would enjoy. So going into the reboot, I was trying to stay at least a little bit positive, because I figure if I go in with the mindset that this movie is going to be garbage, then I'm already robbing myself of enjoying the film. I was still holding out hope that this movie could still at least stick a landing, because I actually don't mind a lot of what Disney's putting out at the moment. Some of it is actually pretty good and does live up to the original. Now, while this movie couldn't possibly live up to the same heights as the original, it does mean it's going to be bad. So the other night I sat down and watched it, and it's not great. Now, for this video to work, I'm going to be splitting it into three parts. Why this movie didn't work, why this movie failed with audiences, and does it stay true to the original. First, starting with why this movie didn't work. The main premise of Home Alone is that it's this kid defending his house from these robbers. This movie, however, just throws that away, and instead of focusing the movie on Max, who is basically Kevin, it instead focuses a large amount of the movie on the robbers. So that's like if Harry and Marv were the main characters of the first Home Alone. Which, saying that out loud, doesn't actually sound like the worst idea. Maybe that's a bad comparison, because in this movie, the robbers are this boring married couple with kids. The movie dedicates most of its screen time to them, and it shows you all of their troubles and how they have to move out because they can't afford their house. It explores their family dynamic, and you actually start feeling really sorry for these characters. All they want is what's best for their kids and their family. So you might be wondering, where does the kid come into all of this? Well, it turns out that they think that Max stole this doll from them, which is really expensive, and was the one thing that they were counting on to save their house. We watch them throughout the whole movie be good people, and their motivations are justified. They're not bad people, and they know what they're doing is wrong, but they actually have no other choice. The thing is, though, Max didn't actually steal the doll. It was just this whole misunderstanding, so the whole movie is just pointless. It's very different from the original, because in the original, Harry and Marv were trying to break into Kevin's house. Harry and Marv do try and hurt Kevin, so the comedic pain they endure feels deserved, and it's funny. Even when they get hurt multiple times, you're still rooting for Kevin. In this movie, however, when they try to break into the house to get the doll back, Max absolutely tries to brutally murder this married couple, and you feel sorry for them. Yes, you feel more sympathetic towards them than the main kid. All they want to do is try to explain and talk to him, but he just keeps throwing death traps at them. It's not satisfying when they get hurt. I'm not laughing at this. This is just hard to watch. I mean, it's him on the poster, so you'd think he's the main character. But he's not. At the start of the movie, we see him get annoyed at his family and just fed up with them for no real reason. They're doing nothing to him apart from the fact that the house is just busy. In the original film, their family are terrible to him, so the reaction that he displays feels earned. You feel bad for him because there's this whole fallout between him and his mum. So when they reunite at the end of the movie, it feels like a real emotional moment because it's been leading up to through the whole film. In the reboot, however, there's no fallout between any of the characters. He just gets annoyed and hangs out in the car for a bit. That's why he's left home alone. Throughout the whole movie, I keep thinking they're going to show more of the kid character, but they don't. We see him for less than 2 minutes doing stuff that a kid would do when he's left home alone. And that's basically the end of his character arc. No further development is done from then on. So at the end of the movie, when his mum comes home and they reunite, the movie tries to make you feel the same way you did when watching the original, but I felt nothing. Probably because the movie fails to set up any type of relationship or fallout with these characters. When you take out all of the fun and the main premise of what made Home Alone such a great movie, you just lose all of that. Anyway, I should probably move on to the next part of this video. Why this movie failed with audiences. When you're making a movie like this, you need to make sure that you target your audience. It's a priority if you want to make sure that your film is well received. So in this case, you could apply 2 types of audiences. The most obvious one is kids, because Home Alone is a family movie, and this movie could almost be the next generation of Home Alone fans. The second audience would be fans of the original movie, and it would almost serve as a tribute in a way to the original film, making it both nostalgic but also loyal to the original source material. Thankfully though, the movie does a great job of applying to none of these audiences. Let me explain. I would expect that this would be a kids film because Home Alone is targeted towards kids, they're the demographic, but I don't think kids would like this film, due to the fact it's focused on the married couple and their problems more than Max. But I also don't think that this film would apply to fans of the franchise either, because it takes that original concept and then just messes it up. What am I doing with my hands? They did try and pump up the nostalgia level by adding in an old character and a couple of references here and there, but that's about it. They did try and be self-aware at times, but it just falls flat. This is probably why this movie has been received so badly. Kids think it's boring, and fans just hate it anyway. So I guess that brings us on to the final part of this video. Does it stay true to the original? No. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to smash that. I can at least try and respect this film for doing something different, but the way they executed it just doesn't work at all. It doesn't know what it wants to be, so it tries to have the same charm as the original, but when it doesn't follow the structure and the story beats and what made the original film so memorable, it fails miserably. You're rooting for the wrong characters, it has no heart like the original did, and the whole movie is just based off a misunderstanding. There's no important message, in fact there's no message at all, and all of the characters' consequences have no actions. The original film wasn't perfect. In fact, half of the time nothing made sense, but at least it had heart and emotional moments, and that is why it's considered a classic to this day. Movies have tried to compete against it, but no movie has even come close to the original Home Alone, and that's the same with this movie. Now, all being said, this movie wasn't a total disaster. I thought some of the jokes were funny, and I'm using that word very loosely. The acting wasn't that bad. I'm trying to put a positive spin on this video, but at the end of the day, this film just wasn't going to work, and that is why the film mostly failed. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a big thumbs up for more content like this. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next Friday.